Hello, hi. This is me refilming part of the intro for this vlog, the fishing series vlog, because as you'll see in the next clip, I filmed in the middle of the day, which is when it gets super, it makes me look ethereal or something with the light through the windows on either side of me. So I decided to fix that, at least for the first minute, 30 seconds I was talking about the actual intro, what I'm doing and why I'm doing it the way I am. Fishing series vlogs are usually a thing I do once a month that are about a week to 2 weeks long, depending on other vlogs and whatnot. In which I don't remember how many series I was in the middle of when I started this. I'm gonna go with 68 because that's what my whiteboard says, and I update that at the beginning of the month. And I started this on April 8th because I was gonna continue a series. And I was like, might as well film a vlog, right? Here's all the series. I think I screen recorded this because I forgot to initially after I finished one of the books that is in this vlog. So if you understand, don't worry about it. Now here's the thing. Who I am as a person, got too busy and stressed out last month for me, which is March, right? So I pushed back the themed vlog for last month to this month. Which is fine. I'm fine with that. The issue with that is that there's no time to do a finishing series vlog this month, in the month of April. So I decided I was going to do a whole month-long finishing series vlog, which is what this is. That's what this is. This ends on May 8th. It's an easy day to remember. It's the day after my sister's birthday. That's how it's easy. So that's the plan. I also remember part of the reason why is because I keep on getting sequels or the last books in series from Libby. I literally just got one. I have 10 holds, or not holds, well I have 10 holds too, but I also have 10 loans, and so I gotta finish one or read one of the books and return it so that I can get that one. It's an issue we don't need to talk about. Okay, but this way you get to see me finishing series, continuing series like I want to in a vlog, because if I'm already gonna do it, also increases the chance of me actually picking up. You know how many times I've gone hellbent and returned it on Libby? It is more than I'm happy with. So this way maybe I'll actually pick it up. But that's what this is, me doing it for a month. I will figure out after doing this for a whole month if I like it better that way, right? Maybe it will. I don't know. I'm trying to decide. I don't know. I'm fighting with myself on it. I'm going back and forth. But that's later me issue. That is what this vlog is. I think the other 5 minutes in the intro is me talking about a book. I don't know. Also, another thing, to make this not extremely freaking long, because I can't shut up apparently when I talk about books, is I don't update you while I'm reading the book or whatnot. I only update you when I finish a book that happens to be a sequel. Except if it's for another vlog. That is a thing. I did finish a series, but I read it for another vlog, so I didn't put it in here. That is everything. There you go. I'm gonna give you time trial. Past me, here you go. Now, I should kind of mention that I have DNF'd the next book in a series. I'm going to continue the series, but the Heiress Effect, which is the second full-length novel in the Brother Sinister series by Courtney Milan, right? I read the prequel, I want to say 2022, before the end of the year. It was really good. I really liked it. It's my favorite. I've read the Christmas novella twice now, and I read the first book, I think January of last year, right? So I finally picked up the second one. And basically the plot around it involves the bastard son that comes from the first novella, the prequel novella, right? And his relationship with a woman who technically, I think she is technically also a bastard. I don't know. I DNF'd it. Again, I should bring this up. I think I was 11% of the way into it. So good times. I think that was only 2 chapters. Wild. Anyways, there was kind of possibly a thing where she was purposely not getting married off. She was being the most undesirable woman she could be, despite the fact that her dowry is like substantial, like extremely substantial. Like, I would like that amount of money now, like that money now without inflation, I'd be fine with. Like, that's how heavy her dowry is, right? Because she has a sister who has some type of seizure disorder of some kind, and their legal guardian, specifically the sister's legal guardian, the way she treats her, she wants to get her out, and the only way to get her out is to wait about a year and a half, I think it is, until the like will runs out or something like that, where he's no longer in charge of her, and so that they can run off together with her dowry, right? That's the thing. So she's purposely undesirable, which means people are constantly bullying her behind her back, in her face, about the things she's doing to make it so she's undesirable. And it's like supposed to be this whole thing where like she does seem like, she knows it's happening, so you shouldn't feel bad for her. Like, she's doing this on purpose, but she still doesn't like it. Like, it's very heavily hinted that she has to say to herself that it doesn't affect her, because it clearly fucking does. And it's like, me, with my personal experiences, don't want to read a bullying romance, even if it's not him bullying her. He has made an effort where, like, he used to be bullied because he is, yes, the firstborn son of a duke, but like, he's the bastard son, right? So he was like bullied a lot because of that when he was growing up, right? So he purposely puts in effort to not bully her or whatnot. And yeah, cool, I guess, but like, if I'm reading a cute romance, if I'm reading a romance, the one thing I don't want to read is bullying 98% of the time. This is why Twin Six Venom was not for me. Right? So, and hear me out, I DNF'd it at 11%. And that's that. The book that I'm going to pick up today and finish tomorrow is Things We Hide from the Light, the sequel to Things We Never Got Over? Is that the name of it? The Lucy Score series. Knock him out. I'm gonna read the second one. Finally, the English version of the audiobook. I finally figured out why I couldn't get the English version anywheres, and that's because the library that I use is populated a good chunk, the location of it is populated a good chunk with Spanish population, so Spanish speaking area, and so a lot of the audiobook was only available in Spanish a lot of places, and that's like normal. I've realized this because of reading Cinder recently. There was 2 versions of the ebook, and one of them was Spanish. That's what clicked it in my brain. I was like, oh, that's why it was available in Spanish and only Spanish, until like this past week or two, it was finally added to Everend as English. So that's fun. So I can finally listen to it, 'cause it's obscenely long. With 3 times speed, it is 5.5 hours. That's how long this bitch is. But that's that. I'm not gonna like update you like halfway through a book or whatever. I'm gonna update you when I finish a book, so this isn't like 3 hours long for both you and me, because I don't want to edit that. Right? Anyways, I've been talking for too long, and I have sprints I have to go to in 2 minutes. So good times. But yeah, that's that. That's everything. I will talk to you probably tomorrow, because that's when I'm gonna finish Things We Hide from the Light. Is this a better angle / look? I can't tell. Now, is the same day. I did not finish Things We Hide from the Light. I did get more than halfway through, and I may read more, because I'm kind of feeling it. But that's not the update we're here for. I read a whole entire other audiobook. In my defense, it was only 3.5 hours. It took less time than it takes to read, like, 20%, 10% of Things We Hide from the Light. That book is obscenely long. This one, short. It is the first novella, book 2.5, I guess, technically, in the Melanie Sellier Four Kingdom series that I am reading. It takes place right after, like, 2 days after the end of the second book in the series, which I read in March? No, not March. February? I think it was February. For the weekend reading vlog. Right? The premise is, the first one, I'm fine with. I say I was fine with. I was annoyed by the main character a lot. 2 stars. Second one, was it good? No. Did I love reading the main character's point of view? Yes, and I think that's why that one is my favorite so far. 3 stars. This one, also not good. This one follows her 2 best friends, I guess, at the end of the set of that one, right? And they are cousins of each other, not of her. One of them is her personal guard. There's like a lot about how it's a lot of work for one person to do, especially someone who's new to this environment. And at the end, it's like, oh yeah, there's supposed to be like 6 people doing your job. We just forgot to do that. Like, hello? She like ended a whole coup on her own. Like, what the? Anyways, and then her cousin, who I always forgot what was her cousin, I thought they were sisters, is Sarah. Now here's the thing. I found Sarah slightly annoying in the second book. She's astronomically more annoying from her POV. There's also the whole thing where they have love interests. They were both red herrings. Like, it was very heavily hinted that the father of Sarah's love interest is possibly evil. Right? And so everyone's like, we can't trust him. And then the guy that is Evelyn's love interest lied to her about his identity, didn't tell her that he was a lord. And he's like, I'm barely a lord. Turns out he should be ruling an area. And his uncle, I believe it is the one who did the coup, right? So they also don't trust him. She doesn't trust them because of that. Right? That's a thing. There's a whole thing where like people don't trust that Evelyn can do her job because she's a woman. And then she like shows off that she's actually good at her job. And in the one fight scene, there's 2 fight scenes, and one of them she does pretty good. In the second one, where it's actually life and death, she immediately gets stabbed in the leg. And it's kind of funny because it's also from Sarah's point of view, so she's like, well, too bad. Like, she does not care. And also heavily hints that she doesn't believe in her cousin. I almost said sister every time. Back to Sarah. Sarah is insufferable. I think her whole character is supposed to be a play, like a comedy play on the type of girl who, like, the bully fantasy historical aspect thing, the girl that's always like bitchy or snarky or like wants to get power. Am I making sense? I don't think so. Like, she very much is here to gain power. That is a whole entire friendship that she has with her love interest. Like, she's kind of into it, but she's like, he is way higher up than me. I'm just a traveler's daughter. I'm just using him to get stationed here, right? And she just wants to get married and whatnot. And I think it's supposed to be because there's other like bitchy girls, and I don't know if I'm wording this well, but she's better than them, I guess. And I think she's supposed to be like a comedy play on that, and we're supposed to love her. But also there's like this whole thing where she's supposed to have character growth. Oh my god. In the first fight scene that Evelyn has, Sarah's also there and ends up stabbing a guy. He's fine, like, he didn't die, but she has PTSD. Valid. The smell of blood now makes her throw up like constantly. There's like this whole thing where when I almost said sister again, when her cousin is stabbed, like the fact that she bandages up her leg in the heat of battle, everyone's like really proud of her because she manages to do it despite her like fear and PTSD, and also picks up a knife and gives it to Evelyn to defeat the bad guy, right? And everyone's like really proud of her because like PTSD. But there's like no growth in that. Like, we don't get to see, like, we have to see PTSD and the next thing we know, oh, she's handling a knife again and also around blood and she's fine now. Like, there's no growth there. And it's supposed to be like this whole thing about her recognizing how her cousin, every time I want to say sister, his job is more difficult than she knows, right? And then also how I don't know how to word this. I understand now what I was trying to say about the bitchiness, where it's the political game aspect, but in like a snarky girl way. Am I making sense? No, I don't think I am. I don't in this whole group, and that's fine. Anyways, character growth. It's impossible when it's in a 3.5 hour audiobook that's split between 2 POVs. That's not gonna happen. What are you doing? Why are you trying to throw this in here? Just make them enjoyable characters to begin with. And then, problem solved. I don't know. It was fine. It was fine. I gave it 2.5 stars. Mostly, I think it would have been a 3-star, but I really disliked Sarah's character, reading from her POV. She's fine as a side character from another character's POV, but as one of the main characters, as her POV, go. Also, right after I rated it, I realized I don't know enough about Red Rose. Because it's two retellings in one. I don't know enough about Red Rose to state if it was actually Red Rose retelling. But where was the Snow White? I don't see her here. Anyways, what was that? I don't know what you're talking about, Snow White. She's not here, ma'am. Yeah, that's that. Will I still get to do the series? 100%, because they are so dumb that even when I dislike them, I'm having a good time. And that's just good for me, personally. If you hear the dishwasher below me, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. I gotta remember to be crushed on still in frame. Things we had from light. It's the next day. It's the 9th. I finished it as planned. Exactly what I planned to happen, which was me reaching halfway, or about halfway. It was like 52% yesterday. And then reading the rest of the day. I had a good time. Did I complain at length before I picked the book up about how fucking long it is? Yes. Do I somewhat accept it because it is slow burn? Yes. I was not expecting that. Right? Like, they're very clearly heavily into each other, but they both have issues for different and very valid reasons. Right? On top of that, like, by slow burn, I mean, they're not, like, making out until, like, 67% of the way through. Like, chapter 13 has a little bit spice, but, like, otherwise, it's, like, nothing until 67% of the way through. And the next thing you know, they're just constantly that. They're constantly being like, that's how I like to say it, apparently. It makes me laugh. And that's the only way we're going with it. Something else I appreciate about this book. Do I remember anything about the first book? Absolutely not. Is there a whole entire podcast episode hosted by me, the person I am, that I could have listened to about the first book? Yes. Did I? No. Okay, we are lucky that when I read the second Unleashed book, I at least skimmed through my notes on the first one for when we recorded that. Okay. Now, the point of me saying all this is that because of that, I barely remembered anything about the end of the first one with, like, the criminal mastermind shooting Nash, who was the main character in this one, and on top of that, kidnapping a bunch of the other characters and a bunch of other stuff happening. Okay. This book did a good job at reminding me what happened in that one without, like, if I actually remembered, like, if I read it back to back and I remembered all those details, it was done in a way where I don't think it would have annoyed me as a person who, like, obviously I remember, shut the fuck up, but as a person currently who did not remember, it did a good job of explaining to me, so I could know and feel like I remembered, even though knowing I did not, and still have a good time, and, like, not feel lost with the whole entire side plot of tracking down that criminal mastermind along with his buddies and pals. I say side plot. It's a pretty heavy side plot because she also works in doing that. Lena, I love her. At one point, she gets kidnapped and she snaps her binds in half. And obviously, I fell in love at that exact moment. I'm a simple bitch. Okay. Something else we have to bring up is the fact that Nash is a cop. Not even a cop. He's the sheriff. And listen, all cops are bastards. We know this. We know this. It feels like one with the PTSD from the end of the first one, from being shot by said criminal, and Nash really being up for like quitting, leaving his job, still doing his job. Like, is he being a human being? Barely, but he is still doing his job to the best of his ability, which is the same level as before. He's doing a great job at doing his job still, which you could say is a tactic to make him look good, but also the fact that he's down to leave his job. He doesn't care for Lena. Love that for him. But, and also, there is another cop who is, you know, the racist, sexist cop who blatantly has mentioned at one point pulling over a black couple for barely going over speed limit, but while letting his drunk buddies go way faster, way past him, and then beating up the guy who was driving. You know, police brutality, also sexually assaulting, low-key, some of the female characters in that bar at one point, right? Amongst other things, they totally, like, he makes sure that everything, every I's dotted, every T's crossed about getting that man's off of the force and making sure that there's no way he's going to be on a police force ever again, right? And so I 100% believe, like, he has more to do in the story in general, and I 100% believe that he could have been any guy, and Lucy Square made him that character, that specific way. Like, he could have been part of the criminal mastermind group easily without having to be, like, the bad guy cop. But it makes Nash look better when he is working very hard to bring down the bad guy cop. Obviously. And then also there's the whole thing where at the end when Lena is kidnapped, he goes rogue cop and he's ready to go bow bow on everybody. He's like, this is revenge. I don't care about making sure the paperwork's all up to date. I'm gonna go get my girl. And then she stabs a guy. With a pitchfork. Iconic. Also, I'm pretty sure he was drunk, or because they were out drinking in the scene before that. So, like, he was slightly intoxicated to the point where he was getting a tattoo on his butt of angel wings for her. I don't need to talk about it. That's just a thing. Anyways, book, good. Good book. I've talked about it for too much. I'm trying to only limit like 5 minutes per clip. They're being like 6 minutes each, and I hate that about me. I liked it 4 stars. I liked it more than the first one. I think that maybe because I just did an audiobook, not reading along. Like, it took me a long time to get my hands on the audiobook of the first one, so I was like a good chunk of the way through. Also, this one, because Bestie Fish was very kind and took the job of taking notes for this book for the podcast, I was able to just read through and not have to worry about that. So I just gotta have audiobook fun times, which is great for me. And I liked it. 4 stars, better than the first one. But I'm most excited for Lucian and Sloane because it seems like there's some stuff with their past, and I'm into it. In the next one, which I did briefly contemplate immediately reading, but then I did check my calendar, and that episode of the podcast doesn't come out until July, so I'll wait. Oh, hi. It's been a long time since I've updated. Yesterday, I read a volume of ouran. Today, I read another volume of ouran. I may immediately start the last one because I'm at the end. I have other things I need to read that are also finishing the series. But, that cliffhanger, 16 was the one I read yesterday, volume 16. I gave it a 4.25 stars. It was good. It started with a duel between Mori and Honey. That was a cliffhanger in 15, right? It was not what I was expecting. I laughed a little. And then the rest of it was mostly family drama with Tamaki, and also pushing Harley away in the midst of that family drama to try to protect her, as everyone else is trying to help him. And it was good. Not as good as the rest of them. I enjoyed it. It was up on time. Now, I can't say much more because, like, volume 17, which is the one that I just finished like minutes ago. Also, my favorite cover of all of them. The last one is my second favorite. But this one's gorgeous. I think it's 15 and 13 are my other favorites. But this one's like actually my favorite. It's so good. Anyways, throughout the series, there's this whole thing where Tamaki's grandmother doesn't accept of him because there was this whole thing where Tamaki's father divorced his wife and then went with Tamaki's mother, who was not exactly poor, but just like not a super rich woman, not from a rich family, and also French. So she was like, never really accepting Tamaki. The only reason that Tamaki is in Japan is because his mother has been really sick, and the only way that she could get the care that she needs is if Tamaki left her and never saw her again, and moved to Japan to accept his place as the heir to the family after his father. But like she never accepted him into the household, the main household, all this stuff. In 16, he is allowed into Mansion 2. I think that's in 16. God, I don't know. They blur together sometimes. So he's allowed into the main mansion, and there's a bunch of like things. There's like a whole in 17. There's a whole conspiracy that has to do with drug trials, pharmaceuticals, medical stuff. I thought it was gonna be that Tamaki also has the disease his mother has. Apparently, it's like pretty common among a woman, but he's like around the age that he would start showing signs. And so I was like, is that the secret they're keeping from everyone? Because there's like been a lot of stuff where like this random lawyer who works for the Suos, who used to know Harvey's dad, is like doing some suspicious things for the family and all this other stuff. No, it was actually that Tamaki's father secretly has been processing a new drug and trials for Tamaki's mother behind the scenes out of his own pocket, right, with Kyoya's family's help. And then on top of that, at the same time, kicks his grandmother out of her position as the head of the family, which is pretty traumatic to her. I get it. She is low-key, not low-key, high-key, emotionally and financially abusive, but it's still sad. And so Tamaki is very much like standoffish against his father now. His mother's visiting, but he won't like do anything. He's like not going to school. He's not eating properly. He's bad. He does start getting along with his grandmother at this point, which is great. We love it. They're so cute. And whatnot. But the thing is that like his mother has only a little amount of time that she can be in Japan, and so she's about to return home, and he hasn't seen her while she's been there, right? And so basically becomes a thing where everyone bands together to help him get there in time. And by everyone, I mean there's like this whole thing where like Mori and Harvey jump through the window of the second floor of the mansion to get him, to get to him and be like, hey, you gotta come with us. And Harvey's literally like crying his arms, like, you have a mother, she's still alive, you have the opportunity to see her, go see her, please. And then his grandmother's like, go see her, apologize for me, and then come back and play more piano for me, please, thanks. And then he's like, there's no way. And then they take a helicopter to an area, but there's fog, so they can't get as far as they need to. And so then a bunch of the host club customers, but also like guys from the school, just random friends and whatnot, band together and are like, okay, we're gonna take a boat to this place, and Kyoya will meet us there with a car, and then he's gonna block off traffic with the police, and then he's gonna drive us all the way to the airport. Right? It's so dramatic. And basically, as they're getting further and further on this journey, they're leaving people behind, right? Because not as many people can fit in a helicopter, blah, 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 right? Or on the boat that they take. And so it's Kyoya, one of his people, Tamaki, and Haruhi in the car together. And at this point, I don't remember which of the twins is in love with Haruhi, but it has been like, hey, you're in love with Tamaki? Right, cool. Tell him how you feel, because you're the only one that can bring him back to us. Also, I should mention, the host club is closed out. There's been no host club in these 2 books, which is wild. His grandmother forced Tamaki to leave it. Also there's like this whole thing where like she was gonna like she was trying to expel Harvey unless if he stopped being friends with her. That's why he was standoffish with her, which she realized pretty quickly. And all this other stuff. Right. Also, she very quickly realized there was this whole scene where Juliet tells off the chairman, Tom McKee's father, for basically using Tom McKee in his revenge against his own mother. Like, dude, what the fuck? I didn't think as an adult I was into Juliet anymore, but that seemed to do it for me. I was like, but afterwards, Harvey's like, yeah, the three of you are so similar. The way you are so stubborn and won't talk about your feelings. Like, if you just sat down and talked about your feelings, none of this would have happened. And the way she's the one person who understands this, which is one of the reasons why one of the twins, the one that's in love with her, tells her to go and talk to Tom McKee because, one, she is in love with him, but two, she's the person that understands him most, and he's the one that understands her the most. Also, right when she starts making the plan to get Tom McKee there in time, Toya's like, wow, you're a lot like me at points. Which is very true. Because she was, like, going full chaos mode with the twins. It was weird. But, basically, Kyoya, when they get to the airport, is like, I won't stay in the car, because I'm not good on big emotions, enjoyable emotions, while you run and say hi to your mother and whatnot. And Tamaki's like, cool, thanks. And Haru's like, I'll stay behind you. And he's like, no. I need someone there to be there for me. And hold my hand. So they run through the airport holding hands. And then afterwards, this is wild. Afterwards, like, the book literally ends. It ends with them. Afterwards, the plane goes. She leaves. It's very sad, very melancholy, but, like, he got to see his mother for the first time in 3 years, and all this stuff, and they're still holding hands. And Haru's taking it back to, like, the past, however long it's been 17 books, but also a year, but also, like, 4 years. It's confusing. But, basically, I do like how the author explains it. It like, actually goes into it in the book about how it's done on purpose. And time did not pass for, like, multiple books, but also time was also passing, and it makes no sense. But basically, she thinks about how her life has changed, and how she's become a different person, but she likes that, and how she's had all these experiences because of these people. Did I mention the fact that Tomki pays off her debt to the club? He pays off the debt to her club so that she can just live her life. That's the thing. Anyways, she's thinking about that as they're holding hands in the airport, just watching his mother leave. And it ends with a picture of them holding hands. And it looks like they're, like, about to let go of hands, and she says, I love you. And then telling me I shouldn't immediately read the last one. The cover of the 18th one looks like they're gonna end up together. I hopes and dreams. I have so many other things I need to read. I only read these right now because my loan to the library was coming due, and I didn't want to deal with it, trying to get it back. It's fine. I'm fine. Anyways, it's gone down for me talking about this book for over 8 minutes. This manga for over 8 minutes. I'm rating the 17th 5 stars. I love that for me. I think the only other one that I've rated 5 stars is the 13th, which I think is the one where she gets kidnapped and realizes her feelings for Tamaki. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna go. Maybe read one of the books I have to read. Imagine if I did that. Of course, my fridge that is right there turns on as soon as I press record. I finished 2 series. I actually finished series. Who could expect that? I finished 2 series. I am going to talk about Ouran Volume 18 first. Technically, I just finished that one. The other one I finished first thing this morning. But since I was just talking about Ouran, I'm going to talk about Ouran. Or the 18th volume. 5 stars. With the tracker thing, with my intro, where I have all my series that goes across the screen, right? What you don't see, because it doesn't go that far to the side, is the star ratings. I'm giving series that I finished star ratings. I think the average of all of them was a 4.26 or something like that. So I gave it 4. Cosplaying on 4.5. Only 3 of them I gave 5 stars, which was 13, 17, and 18. I think there were like 1 or 2 that I gave 4.75. Most of them are 4 stars. There's one 3.75, and there were a few 4.25s, but most of them were 4 stars. Volume 18. Good soup. Basically the plot of it is starting a little bit before where volume 17 ended, where they're holding hands and Hari says I love you. It starts off a little bit before that, where he is like thanking her for being there for him and all this stuff, and it's really cute, which is what pushes her to say, hey, me into you. And then him freaking out about the fact that she admitted that she loves him, he goes about a weird way of trying to explain that he also loves her, right? And then there's this whole thing where like she wants to hang out with him, but he's been so busy and whatnot. But he's actually been trying to figure out the perfect first date for them. But then when he goes to ask her, after like spending multiple days, like basically a whole week trying to figure out the best first date, he literally goes to ask her, and they're in some type of pond or something kind of similar to the first one. There's a lot of hints to the first one in this one. First few. Anyways, she is like, hey, you want to go on a date? I got us tickets to this thing. And it's so cute. And then they're being on a date. Right? Cute. Him going to... Listen. Would, in real life, a guy taking me to my dead parents' grave on our first date to tell that parent, hey, I love your daughter, and this is all the reasons why, and I will stand by her forever. Would, if that happened to me in real life, would I totally kick that person in the no-no square and run away? Yes. Was it adorable in the book? Yes. Also, Hari decides to study abroad, and there's like just a lot of them being cute and coupley and whatnot, and showing how they're like a good mix, because he's like over the top romantic and she's like not unromantic, because she definitely has like the way she talks to him sometimes is very much like the way she describes how she feels about him. On more one occasion, he's like, you're so much better than this than me, and then kisses her, and it's very cute. Fine. But so it's definitely not unromantic, but definitely not like shows min level of romantic. She's like romantic in an everyday sense, right? So it's a good mix. Also, there is at the end a bunch of like things that show like their life, because he goes and study abroad with her, because it's like this whole thing where the top member of each class gets a free study abroad option, so she decides to go to Boston, but he also happens to be the top of his class, so he decides to go to Boston too, right? And so at the end there's like an 8 months later type thing where he makes her, like, she has to cancel their weekly movie night and cuddling to basically do homework, write a paper, I think it was. And so he knows that she's gonna be up late writing a paper, and so instead he just makes her food and falls asleep, so that when she's done he can heat up her food for her. And I feel like that's 100% who Harvey needs, as the type of person who takes care of everyone, but definitely not herself. 100%. Also, yes, when they first move in to the same apartment building, literally there's like one door separating them. They're like, she has like all these rules where like they have to, instead of using like the one hallway door, like they gotta go like to the front door to their apartments and blah blah blah. So they're like not constantly hanging out, right? And he's like, fine, I'll follow your rules, but I want to kiss every morning and I want to kiss every night. They're just so cute. I love them. I've been talking about this book for way too long. It's 5 stars. I did almost cry multiple times, especially when Hari actually talks about her emotions and why she likes him and all this stuff. It's just... Also, we got glimpses of each of their futures. They canonically get married. Also, when everyone... when they throw the Hari is starting a broad party and leaving us, all the girls who go to the host club, right? They dress Haruhi up in a dress. And they're like, oh, makes sense. Haruhi's just a gay man who likes to dress up girly sometimes. And Haruhi and Tamaki are in a gay relationship. And they're 100% fine with this. But then when Haruhi's leaving and they're all watching Haruhi leave, and Haruhi's father is freaking out because, like, oh my god, Tamaki's going too. And so he's like, give my daughter back. And they're like, oh my god, Haruhi's actually a girl. Which kind of funny. Anyways, 5 stars. Good soup. On the other end, I read Unbroken. I want to keep on saying Unbound, but it's Unbroken, the third book in the Dark Moon Shifters trilogy, which is a reverse harem shifter romance trilogy about a woman who has to defeat climate change by banging 4 different guys. Technically, that is accurate. In this one, there were zombie evil unicorns. Okay? Amongst other things. There were, there's, like, been a bunch of, like, shifter stuff, basically, and, like, science experiments and things like this throughout this series, throughout the 2 other books. And then, in this book, they drop just fairies, just a whole entire fairyland in, like, the first 20%. And then they drop vampires at, like, 50%. There's suddenly vampires now in the universe. And then at the last chapter, end of the last chapter, it's like, oh, also there's demons. It was a book where there's a lot is happening. And the whole time, I'm just there just like, what? Not really understanding it. Did I 100% skim all the sex scenes because I was bored? Yes. Which feels weird, being as the first one is the one where she bangs one guy, and that's it. Second one is the one where she bangs all 4 of them, but at separate times. Right? This one is the one where she bangs all 4 of them, but at the same time. And I didn't care. At this point, I was bored. I was like, nah, I don't care. And then the end fight scene with Atlas, I was like, who cares? Who cares? I don't like fight scenes. It's a thing where fight scenes and me don't mix. That's why the last book, 5th book, I guess technically next there's new ones in the Percy Jackson and Olympian series, is my lowest rated of the whole series. Is because that's just basically a big giant fight scene, boss battle fight scene. That is basically the whole entire plot of that book. Those are normally not my favorite, just because they're hard for me to picture in my head. I like them in movies and shows because I can, like, see them, right? But in, like, picturing them in my head from reading them, yeah, I'm not that good at it. I had the same issue with Iron Widow. I just really like Iron Widow, so it's still 5 stars. Same with Legendborn Bloodmarked, right? Like, that's just a thing with me. And so I was skimming that too, and that was like a good 20% of the book. So that's fine. I rated it 3 stars. The other 2 I rated 4 stars. So I think it's technically like a 3.5 average rating for the series. It was good. It was fine. It was 100% setting up another book based off of a side character that was brought in for 5 pages in this one. You know, good times. That's my thoughts and opinions on that. I don't really have anything to say about it. It wasn't that good. It wasn't bad. But it wasn't as good as the rest. And there wasn't payoff for much of the setup that was set up. And the setups that was payoff, there wasn't actually a setup. It was just dropped in the middle of the book. If that makes sense. Yeah. I'm gonna go read other things. I have so many things I need to read before the end of the month. Did I mention it's, like, second to last day of the month? 29th? We love this for me. Hello, hi. Me, a Taboo series, Katie Robert. Yes, my window's open, don't pay attention to it, it's hot up here, okay? Anyways, I started, it is May 2nd now, I started the Touch of Taboo series by Katie Robert, middle of April, I think, for the podcast, right? I'm reading ahead for the podcast, especially with this series, because they're like 4-ish hours per audiobook, right? So I'm gonna do that. I don't know. It depends on other things. If I finish a series or what's out of the series, because there was 5 books planned, but the fifth one was canceled. And she has said that she will go back to it at some point, right? So good times. But the plan was to read before they're out, basically, and finish that this month, maybe in this vlog, because I realized I can totally reach 69 books this month for the year, right? God, it's windy out there. Of course my window's open. Now the thing is that books 2 and 3 I do have to read kind of sooner for the purpose of pre-recording the podcast, but book 4 I can read whenever, technically. So I'm not going to be finishing the series until it's like book 69, because I'm hilarious, right? So will that happen in this? I don't know. I don't think so. It really depends on what other books I can read before then. I'm on 62 now, with me finishing book 2 of the series, which is Gift Me to His Best Friend. The whole premise of the series is that they're taboo, smutty books. There is no plot. It's no plot. Okay. This one is, I like the first one more. Your Dad Will Do. That one was, it wasn't bad, but like the things that were happening in it was so like funny or unexpected or like whatever that you just can't help but laugh. Like, it's so wild, right? And I didn't rate that one, so of course I didn't rate this one, because like, again, poor with no plot. This one felt tamer in the only aspect I can think of, in just the uncanny aspect, like how weird it is at points, the hilarity of just like what happens in it. It's much tamer, so it's much more mid in that aspect. Still not rating it. The plot of this one is Emma and Grayson. I know a lot about it because I wrote notes for the podcast. Emma and Grayson, married. Both her husband and his best friend, Derek, are bi men who have been best friends for many years. They've been married for 7 years. She has had a flirtation with Derek for years. So has her husband. Right? There's like a thing where they jokingly talk about like her banging her husband's best friend and things like that. But then another aspect is that she likes to read smutty books, and then in their personal bedtime, they play out the fantasies in her books, and she happens to be like right after one of those joking times, she happens to be reading a book where the main character sleeps with her husband's best friend, and so they're talking about the fantasy as they're going at it, and he's all like, hey, on the ski trip, because it's also Christmas, it's a Christmas romance, on the ski trip, when we're out skiing tomorrow, what if I bring up to Derek the idea of me gifting you to him, right? And then I'll just watch you bang him, because the idea of watching you bang him, I'm into it. And then next thing you know, Derek has agreed and they're going at it, and basically it's a lot of them acting out, like Grayson catching them as they're going at it or whatnot. I don't know. About halfway point is when Emma starts making an effort to make both Grayson and Derek, now they both recognize their attraction to the other one, but actually act on it. The first time they do this whole thing, they're like, she's getting both of them off, and they're holding their hands in her hair, and she's just like, anyways, there's a lot of banging. There's banging in the hot tub. It takes place over like 48 hours. And in case you're wondering, I did do the math. I did count how many times each of them, and she 17 times. Ow. So that's fine. And then basically at the end, she's all like, hey, we should like both Grayson and Emma recognize, hey, our relationship was already pretty great, but like with Derek, it just feels like we have something more, something extra. Maybe we should be a throuple. And so he tries to do some, he turns him down, and then Grayson's like, okay, I'm fine with you just banging Derek when you want to Emma. And then he also brings that up to Derek. And then they're talking about it as they're going at it, and she's like, I love you. And he's like, I can't, because like, I'm scared. And she's like, okay, fine, think about it, but like, I'm not going to be doing this behind, like, even if my husband knows about it, I'm not going to do it, because I would come to basically hate you. If I'm banging someone I love, but who can't say they love me back, right? Valid. And she tries to give the same like, not even ultimatum, just the same thing to Grayson, where like, you can continue to bang him if you want. And Grayson's like, no, for the same reason. Also, like, neither one of them likes the idea of banging him without the other one there, right? In some capacity. And then, oh my god, it's New Year's, and it's a week later, and Derek is there, and they're throuple now, and as the ball drop for New Year's. And that's how the book ends. I will give this book props for Grayson and Emma's relationship, especially bed relationship, sexual relationship, because it's very much, she is into fantasizing about certain things, and so he gives her as much of the fantasy as he can, like the idea of banging a random stranger at a bar type thing is like something she's into, and they like talked about it, but he doesn't like the idea of her banging a stranger because safety reasons. Valid. So instead they pretend to be strangers and then go at it, type thing. And so basically a big part of this book, the whole entire reason why this book happens is because she's into things, and then Grayson will do whatever he can in his power to give her what she wants, and you know, it's just a healthy relationship sexually. Yet, I don't know. I don't do too much about both these fictional men's eggplants, okay? I talked about this book for too long ago, because I didn't rate it. Like, I will talk to you tomorrow about the third book this year, because I plan to read the whole entire thing of that tomorrow. Fine. Honestly, not the weirdest Katie Robber, the wildest Katie Robber I have read is Your Die Will Do. God, the ending of that one, just listen to the back of this episode, because it's funny and like 35 minutes long. That's what I'm trying to say. It's even more wild than the dragon one by her, where the dragon has 2 eggplants himself, using both of them on her. That one is wilder than the dragon one. Like, can you imagine? Hello, hi, welcome to the end of the vlog. It is it's the 7th. Yes, the 7th. I'm not gonna read another book in the series by the end of the day, so, well, I am, but that's for a different vlog. So, if I get distracted, the fish is at like the last 80-ish pages of Blood Marked, so that's happening. But yesterday I did read the 3rd Touch a Taboo book, which is dating my father's best friend, my dad's best friend, something like that. Again, didn't read it. Listen, this one was the tamest, blandest one yet. Basically the premise is like Blake and Jonas, 6 years ago, there was a Christmas party that her father threw. She was 22 at the time. She had a thing for Jonas for a while, so she tried to seduce him, basically. He turned her down because, again, she's his best friend's daughter, and also 22. And so it's been 6 years. She now runs her father's company. He used to be part of the company, and he left it. She is running into kind of some trouble when it comes to the company. So she goes to him to be like, hey, come help me out. He instantly denies her. She's like, okay, fine, bye. She does try to seduce him again, and then she leaves. But oh no, there's a storm, so now she's stuck there for the weekend. It's not even a weekend. It's not even 48 hours. And let me tell you, I don't think that's how penises work. I don't think that's how, right? Like, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm 98% sure. Unless he's on a little blue pill, I don't think that's how it works. I'm just saying. And even then, I'm pretty sure if it's up that much, you really need help. Anyways, they're bangling for a weekend. 48 hours. Less than 48 hours. It is late Friday night, and she leaves noonish Sunday morning. So, that's what happens. They basically just let out all their sexual tension over a weekend. And that's it. That's all that happens. I will give this book the fact that Jonas is really big about consent, like that. I will also bring up the fact that she, when he asked about the business, she basically states that when she took over, a lot, like most of their customers left because they didn't want to be like pay a company that's being run by just a little girl. And he's like, well, maybe if you stop trying to run it like your father would, you'd be fine. And I'm just like, sir, okay, yeah, sure, maybe she should stop trying to chase those customers and try to get new customers based off of how she does things. But that does not negate the fact that her family company is about to go down the drain because sexism. Like, that does not negate the fact that the big giant problem there. And he's just like, it's your fault? That is an exact phrase he says multiple times about this thing, this whole thing. So, you know. Anyways, at the end of the book, it's like a week after that weekend, and he's like, but please, I actually kind of like you. They don't say I love you. But he does say, hey, I think I like you, so, like, let's start dating. And that's how it ends. I honestly have lost track of all the things I read for this. That's the issue of filming one vlog over a month. There was the ouran, finishing ouran, loved it, great time. There was reading the novella from the Melanie Cellular Four Kingdom series. There was Things We Had from the Light, really liked it. There was a taboo, because apparently I gotta read a book every month. Was there anything else? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's been so long. And that's that. I was gonna say, was there anything I've really liked? Yeah, ouran, you dum-dum. I'm so smart. But that's it. That's it for this vlog. It's finally over. It is a long one. I have put, minus this clip, every single clip into the editing software I use, and it is over 50 minutes long, which is something I expected for a month-long video, so it's fine. It's fine. Right? It's fine. I think that's all I gotta say. Oh, thank you, Fish, for the thumbnail. I haven't even sent the stuff for Fish to make the thumbnail, but I know Fish made the thumbnail, so thank you, Fish, for that. Podcast. I mean, both the Touch Taboo series and Things We Have from Light are podcast episodes you're currently or in the future. So that will be linked below. Next video is me reading books just because I have flowers on the cover for 2 weeks. That is the plan. And I'm gonna go film that intro. That's why I'm wearing the shirt. Until the next video.